Welcome to the Farming Without the Bank podcast, the show with a no BS approach to money, hosted by a farm strategy expert and authorized IBC practitioner. Join us as we get real and expose the flaws of traditional financial institutions in order to help farmers take control of their finances, create peace of mind, grow their wealth, and leave a legacy. Now, here's your host, Mary Jo Ehrman.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Oh, today, you guys, I am going to go on a rant. So if you don't want to listen to me rant, you might want to just shut this off. If you want to listen to me rant with some good advice, then just stay. But I'm going to warn you. I'm a little bit irritated, and it has been 24 hours. I even slept on this, you guys. All right. For those of you that are just listening, I want to get this out before you shut me off or I get too far into my rant. I will be in Iowa July 20th, and we are going to be doing a conference. We are still trying, or a little seminar, clients only. And then we're going to do one for non-clients. I am still trying to find a location to do this in because apparently not every hotel thinks that they need to have a projector and a screen. And they can't hold this many people, and they can't do a U-shape, and they can't do tables for this, and they can't. Oh, it's harder than it should be. Anyway, we do not have a location, but July 20th, we will have tickets available soon, so that you guys can buy those. But keep listening and keep watching your emails, because if you subscribe, if you've bought a book, we will email you. If you've done anything with me and I have your name and email, we will be letting you know that we're going to be there and a link, okay? If you're a client, you'll probably get a text message. So just an FYI, I'm coming. All right, let's get into it. So yesterday, you guys, I've said this a million times on here, and let me start by prefacing, I don't dislike bankers. I don't dislike banks. I use banks. I have a banker. I have several bankers that I talk to. I have several lender friends that I talk to, and I actually really like them. Bankers are great people, except when they're not. And there are very few of them that are not. But as anything in this world, the negativity of stuff is what wins, right? When things annoy you, those are the things that we remember. We don't remember the 10 positive things. And I typically am a very positive person. But today I am extremely annoyed because I had this wonderful young 23, I think he was 23-year-old, yesterday that I talked to. And he is looking to buy a house. He's farming with his family, and he's farming on his own. He is doing his own thing. He's helping dad and uncle, but he's doing his own thing. Okay. He has his own operating costs. He rents land. He rents the equipment, all the stuff. So he is still living with mom and dad. He is buying a property. The property that he wanted, if he got more of the acreage, I don't remember what the acres were. Let's say it's 60 acres. If he got all of the 60 acres, it would have been more money. And the banker said, no, I'm not going to lend you that much money. So he then goes and he's like, well, then I'll just buy 4 acres of it. The guy was nice enough to subdivide it. So I'll give you 4 acres with your house. And then the banker said, okay, I will give you a loan for that 4 acres. So as I'm talking to this person, I said, oh, I see that you have all of your accounting for the farm. I said, you keep that in a separate checking account, right? And he said, no, the banker told me not to. I said, what? He said, yeah, he told me it's not necessary. I said, how do you track your expenses if it all goes through? Like, what happens when you're going to buy socks and underwear? at Runnings, because who doesn't go to Runnings and buy socks? It's like going to Runnings and not buying candy. Come on, you guys. It's like they go hand in hand, right? So if I'm going to go to Runnings and buy a pair of boots or buy socks or buy something that's not write-offable, I don't know if that's a word, something I can't write off, how am I supposed to separate that? So he's like, well, I have to highlight all my receipts and I have to track that. I said, that's why you need a separate bank account. So all of your inputs go out from the farm account and all of the income goes into the farm account and then you pay yourself accordingly. That is the point. It's a business. This guy told you not to do that? What? That's the worst advice I've ever heard. Okay. All right. Strike number 1 for Mr. Banker Friend. Then we get to this mortgage and I said, so when are you closing on this new house? And he said, well, I'm trying to push it off because I wanted to talk to you first. I said, oh, okay. He goes, well, I don't know how much down I should put. So he's got a lot of money saved because he's a great saver, very frugal, fantastic for him. And he said, well, I was going to put, the banker wanted about, I think it figured to about 30% down. And I said, well, I said, you're going to do a 30-year note, right? And he goes, no, 20, but the banker wants me to have it paid off in 10. I said, why would you pay it off in 10? Well, so that I have some collateral to leverage against some more farm ground. I said, why would you leverage 4 acres against farm ground? I said, that's your house that you live in. Why are we leveraging your house that you live in? I said, what is the difference? Your payment's going to be high and you're trying to rent more ground. You're trying to farm. You're trying to do all these things. And yet he's telling you to take any extra liquid money that you have and put it to the loan and give it back to him so that when you need money to go to him, he can tell you yes or no. And he's like, oh, yeah. He said, yeah, my dad and uncle went to him to buy the other piece of that acreage that he wouldn't allow me to buy. And he told them that they can't buy it either because they're not going to make enough money off of it. So they're still buying it, but the owner is owner financing them. I said, so he wants you to pay more money on your mortgage. Give him all the money so he can come back and say, no, I'm not giving you that because that land doesn't pay for itself. Well, I don't know, but I have yet to talk to a farmer in the last several years that land could actually pay for itself. Land values are so high that we are having to leverage other land. We are having to have off the farm income to pay for that land. Land and crops are not paying for the land. Maybe in some places, but I've yet to come across those places. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's not what's happening the majority of the time. And so now we have a banker who is telling a 23-year-old to pay more on his mortgage and get that paid down as quickly as he possibly can. Somebody that may very well be married in the very near future, have children, trying to buy more ground, trying to build his operation, and we should give all of our extra money to the bank for our mortgage so we can go back to the bank and ask for money from the same banker that seems to be the most ignorant individual that I have ever heard of. What? This banker has no idea what cash flow is. He has no idea how to run a business. He probably went to school and has an MBA. No offense to the people that have an MBA that actually know how to run a business. All of the advice everything I heard from this young man, everything was like crazy. The attorney is doing the accounting. They have a corporation. They have an LLC. Grandpa owns stuff. The family doesn't get along, but yet we own things in a corporation and we continue to do that. And the attorney thinks that this is okay. and doesn't know the family dynamics. And I knew the family dynamics in about 45 minutes. And it's not like the family dynamics were forthcoming from this individual. I'm just asking the questions that I'm going to get what I need answered, because family dynamics are extremely important. And this banker is the same banker that dad and the uncle use. I said, no, the next phone call you're going to make is to somebody that will do a 30-year conventional note, because this is not a farm. It's 4 acres with a house. There are no grain bins. There are no corrals. This is not a farm. This is a conventional 30-year note that will actually be a cheaper interest rate because it's not agriculture land. An egg note at 6 3/4 for 20 years and then pay that off in 10. So the banker has more money coming in every month, so he can go and give you a loan if he wants to. No, what we're going to do is a 30-year note on this 4 acres. A 30-year note, we're going to take the difference. And I don't frankly care if you put it in a life insurance policy or you put it in savings. Because guess what? As soon as you need that money and you need to buy a piece of equipment, you need that money for operating something, you are going to have the cash to do it, and you're not going to have to go back to the bank. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot this. He has a ton of money in savings. But some of that money, because his checking accounts are together, some of that money has to be used for operating. So what's going to happen is if he puts 30% down instead of 20, he puts 30% down, and then you subtract his operating, he's left with very little money. Or he may end up dipping into his savings or his operating that he's using cash for, because he has no operating note right now. So he's using cash to operate. That big house payment may actually drive him back to the bank for an operating note. So the banker is just taking and taking and taking to the point where now he's going to be dependent on the bank. And right now he is not dependent on the bank. He doesn't need that banker for anything. It is not often, my friends, that I come across snide little bankers like this. Not often. And I understand there's always 2 sides to every story, but this kid is 23 years old with basically no debt. None. No student loans, tons of money in savings, been super smart. He wants to farm differently. He wants to run it like a business. He knows his numbers. And this banker is trying to set him up for absolute failure. If he's not trying to set him up for failure, he's just an absolute ignorant idiot that is not paying attention to what is going on and doesn't know squat about farming. Again, it's rare, but it makes me mad because as a banker, you should understand cash flow. I understand why banks ask questions and why they want you to prove that you can make the payment. I 100% understand that. I don't like all the stupid questions that they ask, but they ask them for a reason. They do their underwriting for a reason. When bankers don't understand cash flow and you, the business owner, have to tell them that if they give you a loan that will produce income that they then can pay the loan back with and use as deposits into your bank. And for every deposit you get to borrow $10 more, 10 times that from the Federal Reserve, which makes you cash flow. That's what banks want, is cash flow. That's what we want as business owners, is cash flow. But if we have a bank that doesn't understand that, now we have a problem, because now all they're doing is hurting us. I am so glad that this kid waited to put money down and close on this property until he talked to me. Not that I am the only answer out there, but why are we not leaving somebody money to grow their operation or grow their business? That doesn't make any sense. And this kid is smart. He knows what he needs to do to not get wrapped up in the family stuff. He's independently doing things. He's paying for things. He's renting things. He's keeping his books the way he's supposed to, which is way harder than it needs to be. We need to look out forward. We need to look at the fact that we're going to probably get married. We're going to have some kids. We're going to have daycare. We're going to have diapers. We want to rent some more land. We want to be able to take opportunities. We cannot take those opportunities when we are sitting on dead equity. Then the bank gets to decide if they want to lend us that money or not. Keep the liquid money yourself. And if you have a banker that doesn't understand, go to another bank. Yes, it's work. Yes, it's time consuming. Yes, it's annoying. But what is more painful, where you're at or where you could be, where somebody understands? There are tons of bankers out there that are good bankers. They understand cash flow. Tons of them. We only hear about the bad ones. There are good ones. Keep looking. They exist. Okay. I may have been harsh and I probably offended somebody. Understand the situation. I am here to make sure that my clients are going to excel. Yes, we're going to use a policy, but we are going to figure out how to create cash flow. We're going to figure out how to use money correctly. We are not going to sit back and be like, oh, well, we can't do this and we shouldn't do this. And being debt-free means nothing if you don't have cash flow. Remember. The bum on the street is debt-free begging for cash flow. Not all debt is bad debt. We just can't get in over our heads. Banker was probably a Dave Ramsey fan. I can't. It's been 24 hours, you guys. Okay. I'm done ranting. I'm done. Thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I'm sure some of you are rooting for me because you're mad at your banker as well. Do not back down. If you have to back down to your banker because your hands are tied, is it because you are not keeping good enough books? Is it because, here's the thing, bankers have you where they want you. If you don't have the books and the knowledge of your numbers to tell them what they need to know. So if you have to back down to a banker, it is probably because you are not prepared. You need to get prepared. You need to have the upper hand. If we can get you to where you have the upper hand, you then get to shop banks and you get to put pressure on them. This kid is where he needs to be. He has the upper hand. He doesn't need to go to this banker and use this banker. And as soon as he leaves, this banker is going to squirm a little bit because dad and uncle have probably been there forever. Grandpa was probably there forever. These guys think that you're never going to leave. No. That's not how that works. You need to have a backbone when you go in there and you need to understand what you're doing. Otherwise, they're going to run all over top of you. You don't always have to be nice. Preferably you're nice, but you don't always have to be nice and accept everything as gospel that they say because they're not God. Your accountant is not God. Your attorney is not God. I am not God. Get information and understand what is happening and do some research. Arm yourself with knowledge so you don't get buffaloed. And that's always what I'm trying to provide you guys is more knowledge so you have more information so you're not getting buffaloed. Google can be good and Google can be bad. It's good in situations where you need more information. Okay, you guys, I'm done. Promise. If you have not gotten the book, get the book. Go to Farming Without the Bank or withoutthebank.com, grab the book, read it, schedule your appointment, and then let's get started. Let's have a conversation. I also had a conversation with a wonderful man yesterday who he wants to get started into farming and or into direct to consumer. But through a divorce, he lost the farm and he's starting over and all this good stuff. And I said, you don't need to own the cattle to have a direct-to-consumer business. This guy loves talking to people. He loves the relationship piece of it. Guess who doesn't love the relationship piece of it? People that want to spend time with their cattle. So go buy somebody's steers, go buy somebody's animals, have them butchered, stick your label on it, let your people know, and sell them that way. And I don't care if you're out there telling me I've lost my ever-loving mind, just forget it. I don't care. I don't want to even hear you tell me it's not possible because people are doing it all the time. There's risk with everything. Figure out your risk, but get started. It was so fun. We talked longer than we were supposed to because we were brainstorming ideas for him to have income and create cash flow. Yes, we talked about freeze drying candy and selling it, because I like this whole freeze drying thing. I like the vending machines for meat lockers. I like all kinds of stuff. There's all sorts of things to make money if you don't have a lot of overhead. Let's figure out what it is. We do that in our meetings because I just love ideas. If you love ideas. All right, you guys, go grab the book, set up your meeting. Let's talk. Otherwise, I'm out. Thank you for listening to my rant. You have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.